Today we're going to talk about how wrecked or not my hair was after I removed my dreads. So, as you can see, I no longer have dreadlocks. You're probably aware if you've seen anything that I've posted on Instagram or to YouTube in the last 18 months, which in fairness is not a lot of video content for YouTube, I will admit that, but I no longer have dreadlocks. I removed them, over a year ago now, and I've been getting comments about how wrecked my hair was or what my hair was like after I took them out. And I think these are fair comments because, I mean, at least when I was starting out and growing up and you know, when I first got them, I was under the impression and had kind of signed up to the idea that to remove them, you would have to cut your hair and shave your head. And I think a lot of people starting dreadlocks even now with widespread use of the internet, and you can see that people can brush them out. Most people still kind of have to get in a mindset whether they're prepared to shave their head should they want to get rid of them, because while you can brush them out, it is a lot of work. If you've not yet seen my video where I document brushing them out, it did take 55 hours with 2 of us working at it. And that's after cutting the dreads in half, like halving the length. So yeah, a lot of work. So yeah, there's this idea that you either have to shave them off, or if you brush your hair out, they're gonna be like, your hair's gonna be in a terrible state. So let's talk about the state it was in. If you've seen the video where I brushed my dreadlocks out, you can see how much hair I was left with. It was maybe nipple length, I don't know, it was real long. I was impressed by it. And that's after I'd cut a significant amount of length off the dreadlocks. If I'd have brushed out the entire length of dread, I don't think the loose hair would have been twice as long, because there's attrition, right? So as you're brushing out the dreadlock, you're losing so much hair. And that's either hair that's like already would have fallen off your head over time, and so when you brush a dreadlock out, it's no longer attached to anything anyway, but it's just, you know, it's not been able to fall off as it would in daily life. Or you're losing some hair because the process of brushing out dreadlocks it's pretty rough. It's harsh on your hair. You're brushing and brushing and brushing, so some is going to break, some's going to break off. So I don't think that if I had not cut the dreads that the loose hair would have been twice as long, but it would have probably been longer and would have taken about twice as long to brush them out without a whole lot of extra gain. But I brushed them out, had this much hair, and then I went to have my first proper haircut in over a decade. Because I never had a proper haircut while I had dreadlocks, surprise. And I grew my hair out for a long time before that, so I'm not actually sure how long it was since the last time I had a proper, you know, haircut by someone who knew what they were doing and not just me with the kitchen scissors in the bathroom mirror. I've only had one other haircut since then, so you know, I'm hardly always in the salon these days, am I? But I went and I had my haircut and I asked the opinion of the hairdresser, because they know hair, they see a lot more hair than I do. I just, you know, see a lot of my own hair and can make videos on that, but I don't really have anything to gauge it against. And the hairdresser was actually reasonably, I don't know, I wouldn't say taken back, I don't, but they seemed surprised that my hair was in that state after being in dreadlocks for over a decade, because the idea is like, surely for whatever reason dreadlocks destroy hair, I don't know. In actuality, it wasn't that bad. The hair itself was fine. And I attribute this to the fact that I'd been using for a decade pretty decent shampoo. Like, I was low chemical, especially by the end. I was making sure it didn't have like a whole string of ingredients that I didn't want in my shampoos. And so, you know, it was a kind of pricey shampoos that I was using, but it was decent stuff. And then I was using heat to dry my hair, but I was using the patent pending towel tunnel, where I would wrap my hair in a towel and blow the air in and gently dry my hair. So, you know, using decent quality shampoos, not washing the hair any more than is necessary, so I didn't dry the hair out too much, and then not using excessive heat. The actual hair itself, not in a bad state. And there's variation, right? So the hair that was on the outside of the dreadlock, that had seen more wear and tear. And when you took all the dreadlocks out, you could see a little bit of variation. You could see some of this hair had been inside the dread and some had been outside. There was slight colour variation, and some of the hair was a bit drier and more brittle, maybe because it had been on the outside and been exposed to the hairdryer and the elements. But the hair on the inside had literally been trapped for years and years, and it had not been exposed to extreme heat or harsh chemicals, and as far as I was aware, it was fine. The worst part about my hair after dreadlocks was the damage done to it by taking the dreads out. You have to brush for hours and hours and hours, and I was using knitting needles and sewing needles and then at the end a hairbrush, and that's going to lead to a lot of breakage just because you're hammering and hacking away. And you can start off really gentle, but by the time you're, I don't know, 30, 40 hours in, you just want it done, right? So you are going to have a lot of breakage, and then, you know, when I went to have my hair cut, there was a lot that had to be like evened out and cut back. So if I'd have wanted to keep that much length, which I didn't want to, I wouldn't have been able to keep all the length, because you had to really chop it back to get like an even amount and the stuff that was of a higher quality. But after that, really no issue with it. I guess I was expecting that while I would have my hair loose, I'd have to wait for it to kind of grow out and then the new hair would be fine and better. That's not really the case. Like, I took the dreadlocks out. I did a lot of deep conditioning with some leave-in conditioner and stuff, some hair masks. And that was less because of the quality of the hair from the dreadlocks and more just because I'd kind of chewed it up through taking the dreads out. I didn't really notice that there was any issue left over. People that I would meet would not be aware that it had been in dreadlocks. I've had my hair cut once since, and they wouldn't have known that it had been in dreadlocks for 11 years just prior to that. Just, it's hair again. Because that's all dreadlocks are. It's just hair that's matted up. You unmat it and it is still just hair. You haven't done anything irreparable to it. You haven't changed what it is. So I think the idea that dreadlocks will destroy your hair is just kind of another one of those kind of holdovers. The idea that, oh, dreadlocks are gross, dirty, it's going to destroy your hair, you're going to have to shave your head. It's just one of those myths that doesn't really stack up in real life. To be honest, the biggest change that I found after having dreadlocks was that my hair was a lot more temperamental. It took a while to keep it nice. When I first removed the dreadlocks, the hair was fine and it was, you know, there was nothing wrong with it. Had it cut, fine. And as time went by, I found that my scalp was getting more irritated with loose hair than it had been with dreadlocks. And that's because I'd immediately got into this mindset, like, I don't have dreadlocks anymore. I don't have to like care about using specialist shampoos and whatever. It's just like, oh, I'll just use whatever because it's normal hair now. Not the case. I found that the stuff that I've been using my dreadlocks kept my scalp in check and comfortable and fine, and I actually got an itchier, more irritated, dried out scalp once the dreadlocks were gone because I'd gone to cheaper shampoos. So I'm like, yeah, I need to not abandon everything that I've learned from having dreadlocks immediately. And he's like, yeah, you do need to make sure that you are still using the right shampoo, now using the right conditioner, because otherwise you'd end up in the same mess you would if you were doing dreadlocks wrong. One thing to note, to chip in at the end of this video, people ask, like, is it a lot different now? And it's really not. I treat my hair much the same way as I treated my dreadlocks. Like, I don't really wash it much more often. Maybe when I had my dreadlocks, I'd wash them twice a week. I can maybe wash my hair now 3 times a week. It doesn't need washing any more than that. I don't use the same shampoos anymore because I found different shampoos that work for me now, that I'm not as restricted in shampoo uses, just that it's more practical for me to buy ones that aren't dreadlock shampoos, let's just put it that way. And I condition my hair, but that's it. I actually don't blow dry my hair now. I blow dry my dreadlocks, don't blow dry my hair now, so that's even like less work that I do to my hair. And still don't brush it. I have a hairbrush. I picked it up just as I took my dreadlocks out. I think the day that I had my hair cut, I was like, I'm going to need a hairbrush for the first time in 10 years. And I don't use it. I run my hair run my hands through my hair once it's dried after conditioning it, and that's it. So yeah, it's very much business as usual, just no longer locked. If you have any other comments or questions about my hair or anything, because we're all trapped inside at the moment, unless you're watching this in 5 years, or you won't be watching this in 5 years because there'll be no one to watch in 5 years. But I'm happy to make any content that you throw my way. Leave me a comment below, and perhaps I'll see you again.